Hi guys, how are you? Welcome back to the channel. My name is George, and in today's video we will take a look at another chronograph. This one is called the Pioneer and is coming from a company based in the UK called Wishmoor Watches. I've expressed how much I love chronographs on the channel on more than one occasions, and when this one popped up on my radar, I couldn't pass off the opportunity. I reached out to Richard that owns Wishmoor Watches, and he was nice enough to send one in for review. Now I do have to return this, I don't get to keep it, but I did have enough time with the watch to get a really good opinion about how good the watch is. The watch normally retails for £250, which is around 280 euros, but Richard has dropped down the price to £210, which is around 235 euros. And I personally think it's actually a really good deal considering the specs and the overall aesthetics of the watch. I particularly love the dial layout and the case shape, but how good is the rest of the watch? Let's take a look. Oh, and don't forget to click a like and subscribe to the channel. Now, roll the intro. One of the reasons I like chronographs is because it offers a bit more room to play with the design. Wishmoor Watches managed to encapsulate the whole vintage sports chrono look pretty well with the Pioneer. The watch is available in 5 dial variants, and they all do a good job at pulling off that same look. They chose the colors pretty well, I have to say. The watches are produced in Hong Kong since Richard couldn't find a manufacturer based in the UK. Now let's talk some dimensions. We have a case diameter of 40 millimeters. We have a thickness of 12 millimeters with that domed sapphire crystal. We have a lug-to-lug of 52 millimeters, which we will come back to later. We have a lug width of 20 millimeters, and the overall weight with the supply leather strap is 81 grams. And I have to say, this feels really solid and really well put together. Although the dimensions are not what you'd say unbalanced, if I could use the term, the watch wears a bit larger than the numbers would actually suggest. The case is made out of 3/6L stainless steel. It is brushed on the sides, and you have this beautiful high level of polishing everywhere else, which looks really well, but I have to say it will scratch. And since the lugs are a bit longer, as you can see here, they will stick out, and if you have small-ish wrists like me, a 6.3-inch wrist to be exact, they will hang, so it does wear a bit larger like I mentioned earlier on. And one thing that I would have loved, since we are talking about the case, is for the spring bars to be placed a bit closer to the end of the lugs, so you don't have this much of it sticking out. Maybe this isn't the problem if you have 7-inch plus wrists, I would say, but like I said, for me it was a bit of an issue. On the side of the case we have the chronograph pushers and the crown. So you have pushers at the 2 and 4. The pusher at the 2 starts the chronograph and also stops it, and the pusher at the 4 resets the chronograph hand. So they are very easy to operate, and they have the same high level of polishing on them, and they actually look really well. At the 3 o'clock position, we have the sign crown, which is just push and pull, giving this watch just 50 meters of water resistance. It's not a lot by any means, but you know, it's pretty common for watches of this style to have just 50 meters of water resistance. 100 meters would be nicer for just added practicality, but at the end of the day, it's not a big deal. And the crown is nicely, not necessarily tucked away, but it's not really huge and it doesn't stick out that much. So turning the watch around, guys, we have the screw down caseback. Same high level of polishing with the Wishmoor Watches logo engraved in the middle, and all around that we have some specs. So sapphire crystal, stainless steel, 5 atmospheres of water resistance, Wishmoor Watches, and Ronda, which is the movement. So this is a quartz, by the way. And speaking of that, This watch is powered by the Ronda 5021D. Now, this is the Swiss parts movement, not the Swiss-made version. This is a 5-jewel movement, and the Swiss-made version is a 10-jewel movement. And to be honest, I don't know if it has the same reliability since it's made somewhere else. Ronda movements are known to be a really good movements. Since I don't know that much about the difference between the two, I'm not going to judge it too harshly. But one thing I do know is that it costs on average between $45 and $50 to buy this movement. And Richard, I have to say, decided to go for this movement because of the reliability of the Ronda and the fact that the subdials are slightly raised, and this also suits the case a bit more. Now guys, moving on to the dial, this is where the magic happens, and like I mentioned, it is covered by a domed piece of sapphire crystal with no air coating, again just to keep that vintage feel going, and it fits the whole aesthetic really well. Is this sunburst velvety brown that really pops up when the light hits it. And by the way, I think this is the best looking out of the bunch. We have applied double batons at the 12. Also at the 12 we have the Wishmoor Watches printed logo. Single baton at the 6, printed batons pretty much everywhere else, and train track minute markers on the outside. Also at the 6 o'clock we have the date window with a silver date frame around it, which is actually very well finished. Sword style hands with some lume. It's well applied. It's on the batons and on the hands, but again it's not enough surface to stand out, which again is pretty much typical for this style of watch. At the 3 and 9 we have the chronograph subdials, both in black. And at the 3 we have the running minutes, and at the 9 we have the chronograph 30-minute counter. Now I have to say that one by one, this is ticking all the boxes to a well-made dial that fits the whole retro chronograph look. The choice of color, the 2 subdials, the white frame that kind of ties the 2 subdials together. And I have to say Richard did a really good job at designing this dial. So the strap is actually very well made. So genuine leather, 20 millimeters at the lugs, and it tapers down to a 17. We have this brown chocolatey color that kind of fits the whole, fits the dial. It works well with the color of the dial, and that's why I said that this is the best. I think personally that this is the best out of the bunch because everything just works well together. Now, not that the other ones are bad, I just prefer this, and that's why I asked specifically for this when I spoke to Richard. Also, stainless steel polished buckle with the Wishmoor Watches logo engraved on it. The strap is actually, again, very well made, so it's soft, and I would say it suits bigger wrists all the way up to 8.5 inches very comfortably. To sum it all up, guys, like I mentioned, the Pioneer ticks a lot of retro boxes. The case shape, the layout of the dial, and it's decently spec'd as well. Don't be put off by the fact that this is a quartz, because quartz does have its benefits. Less ways to set up the time every single time you actually set the time, every single time you actually want to wear the watch. And besides, this uses the Ronda, which should be one of the more reliable quartz movements. Not a big fan of the long hanging lugs like I mentioned earlier on. But, you know, if you have bigger wrists, this is for you. And besides, again, did I mention how much I actually love chronographs? And did I mention how much I actually love a vintage looking chronograph? Guys, this wraps up today's video. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about the Pioneer from Wishmoor Watches. Please don't forget to click a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't so, and I will see you guys in the next video. And again, thank you very much for watching. Bye.